Two, I'm Angry Wolf. I owe you guys a video about the importance of steel. And my Instagram just paused. And it's back. This is going to be an issue for today. Alright, so Echo Fan Grey Wolf here. We're going to talk about some steel weapons. We're going to work some steel weapons. And we're going to tell you what you do and you do not do. So, you guys are probably going to get a whole bunch of crotch shots. You guys are going to get full body shots. I'm sure the screen is going to go black, but I have a full battery. So for at least the next 45 minutes, there will be YouTube. It has numbers. I'm 37 seconds in. So first and foremost, if you do not have martial art training, if you are not a martial artist, do not attempt any of this shit at your own expense or at your own risk. You are putting your life in danger if you have not been trained. Rule number one on size. First, get the right size. These are something I had since I was a child. They are not the right size. The right size should go to your elbow, from your middle finger to your elbow. If you're a small child, like 10 years old, these will probably be the right size for you. If you're a grown-ass man, no. Rule number two, you are not Raphael. You will never do that, or that, or that, or this, or this. Unless you are at home just playing with these things, you will never do that. Ever in your life. You will never get the chance to do that. This right here, going into battle, this might be the only time you get the chance to do that. But you see where my hands are? They are wrongly misplaced. Your hands need to be at the bottom. At the bottom. Because this is fun. For movies, you see how that shit almost flew out my left hand and into my body? These are not sharp, so I'm in good shape. But if you don't know anything about cutting or being cut, you can cut somebody with a spoon. It's generally the force behind it, not the sharpness of the blade. So that's why you don't do that. That was not done on purpose. It was just done to show you why, but not on purpose. It was supposed to come back like this, so that wouldn't happen. Stuck in the ground pretty good though. These are not toys. And without good reflex control, as you've seen what just happened, that could happen to you. And if you happen to get the sharpened ones, because they can be made sharpened, you can impale yourself. You can lose a foot, or a toe, or whatever. But you see Raphael do all this shit before you go into battle. You don't see him do that. And now you know why you don't do that. Alright? They're cute when you do that. Cute don't win fights. Cute causes fights to be lost. You do not put your fingers in between these little forks. Your fingers stay here at all times. If you have to block, this is probably the safest block. If you're trying to block a sword with this thing right here, it's a good chance that you're going to get messed up and you're probably going to lose all of that. So, honestly, training, they're great. You want to find a side expert, not me, to train you on how to work these things properly. You want to find a fight choreographer to train you how to do this and make it look good on film. That's fine. So, you can block like this. This is not guaranteed to protect you from a sword. Okay? Look at how small this thing is to my arm. For you up there and for you down here. See how small this thing is? Right sword, right day, bye-bye arm. So these are not for that. They are for blocking swords, but it doesn't work like in the movies. And your hand-eye coordination will be needing to be at the top of its game. If you're gonna block a sword coming into these, your hand-eye coordination needs to be at the top of its game. And always remember, the hand is quicker than the eye. A lot of people don't believe that shit, but it is. This is a no-go. Training, movies, fantastic. You want to fight like this? It's a bad idea. See where my fingers are? You're going to get them cut off if someone brings a sword through here. We do not want that. Hello, Brianna, and the new person. Just so that get that out of the way. But yeah, see how that almost flew out my left hand? These things are not toys. They're not to be played with. I don't recommend you blocking them. I don't think you want to go into fighting thinking that you Raphael from the Ninja Turtles and do this shit. But remember, the turtles only have 3 fingers. So, also depending on what version of the Ninja Turtles you're watching. See how these things go out of control? That's what's going to happen if you think you're going to take these into a fight and do one of these things. Someone's going to probably take your arms off. Then it's going to be your problem. So you don't want to do that. Okay. This is a katana. For all medicinal purposes, this is a training katana. So, as you can see, most katanas aren't made like this. So you can basically say this is a show sword. See how it has those cuts there? These little indentions, and then like the saw blade for you here on YouTube. You're not carrying this bitch into battle. You're gonna die. It's a show sword. It is not for fights. If I was making a Highlander movie, this would be the sword of choice. There would also probably be a dagger in here. This is not one. I can't get this bitch off. Wherever I bought it from, if it is a dagger, the bitch is sealed shut. I do not know how to unseal it. I'm not going to attempt to unseal it. But a lot of katanas like this, with a short blade but a long handle, generally have a sword or a tanto inside. This is also a weapon. Block, stab, pull out, slice. Or block, slice off their arms, slice off their legs. Now if they're wearing armor, you have a problem. Now I'm going to show you what you're not going to do. You're not going to do that, and you're not going to do this. If you don't train right, off with your foot or your leg. Also, you're not going to do this. If you're going to train with a weapon, you are not going to use your limbs while training with steel. You can do that with wood. You can do that with wood. But I don't recommend you doing it with steel, because you do this, this, this. You see how close my leg was to that? This, thank God, isn't sharp on this side, but it's very sharp on this side. So if I do one of those numbers, I can impale myself. Worst thing you can do with your own weapon is hurt yourself. So your blocks, your blocks, your blocks, strike, 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 thrust, thrust, strike, strike. None of this shit. This shit is for movies only, because it looks cool. In real life, no one's gonna give you the time. So it's gonna be like some serious fencing going on. Strike and block. Yeah, those are highs, those are lows. That's a Superman thrust. Again, you be taking a chance doing that, because they're gonna bat it away and then gut you. Which is why this form here and here is one of the main things they teach you how to work with a samurai sword. So if you're left-handed, here and here. If you're right-handed, here and here. If you know how to use both hands, here and here. Do not do that. Here and here. And if you want to go one more, you go low. So learning how to wield a sword is okay for practice purposes only. Which is why you train with wood, so that you don't accidentally chop off your own freaking hand. You know, always keep mindful of where that tip of that katana is. As you can see how close it comes to my body. You know, you got to be real careful at working these things. You don't want to do this, because you may cut yourself on the blowback. So you want to keep mindful of where that katana tip is. So thrust, thrust, push the body off as you pull back. So it's in, push out. That's about the only time you're probably going to use your limbs. You're not going to, I mean, you have a sword. Why are you going to waste your time? You have a sword. You know, it's pretty much it. Maybe this. Again, that shit's only for the movies. Save that shit for the movies. Your main defense is your central line. Block, block, strike, strike, mid, low, high. I'm short, so everything I swing at a person is probably going to go high. It'll probably be their mid-range, but it's probably going to be a high strike. So here, 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 and here. My entire defense is to protect everything here. Front and back. Back block, but those are more or less a dirty fighter that's going to stab you in the back while you're fighting someone here. You're not going to be able to use the reflection of the computer or the cell phone to see if anybody's coming up behind you so that you can block this way. But in case you are that lucky, that's a block. Let me show it this way. Swinging, back block, strike. You see how close my leg came to that? That's why that's dangerous. That's why you will probably more than likely not deal with that shit in real life. When you block, kick low, strike, versus block, kick high enough that you can cut yourself with the blade. No. Real katanas, not this thing, real katanas are sharp. Alright, so I'm going to show you one more thing with this thing before I put it up. And we're going to volunteer Mulan. This is what that's for. So they coming in and I caught them here. Now it's in, so you guys can get a good look at that. It's literally in that hole. Okay, so they just struck me this way. Woo, that's very bad. But they're thrusting and I got lucky and caught them in that hole. All right, so now I'm here and they're here. Kick them off. I got their weapon. Slice, stab, slice, slice. That kind of shit only happens in the movies. And in real life, you're never going to get blessed enough to catch somebody's sword like that. And if you are, please, let me know how you did that shit. In fact, come and train me. I mean, I'm a little old, so you got to train me from my level. Always keep maintaining of your sheath. Don't do that. That wasn't on purpose. I literally was trying to do that and catch it. So you want to maintain that. So if you pull that shit out, you don't have to toss it. A lot of samurais have these here, but they have them on their back. A lot of ninjas have these here, and they also have them on their back. So my advice, if you're going to practice ninja or samurai, before you do any sword work, you need to practice getting it out. Alright? And you need to be faster than what I was. Like, way faster. This bitch locks up in here. So you probably want to keep it a little oily, just so it'd be easier to slide out, but not so easy that you cut yourself on the way out. So here's your reverse grip. That's how you just thrust it into somebody's stomach, and then you throw it back into this person's stomach, and then you come back. But don't practice this unless you're only practicing it. Don't do that. Keep track of your sheath. Your sheath is also part of your weaponry. So in case you can't get your sword out, boom, 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 then draw. Because this is just as important as the sword itself. So anybody's teaching you samurai or ninja, they need to make sure they explain to you that this thing here, one second, I'm having a malfunction. Let me take this out before I get hurt. I don't know what the hell, this has never done that before. Might have happened when I dropped it, which is also a very important thing that I probably should have said at the beginning. Maintaining your weapon in all aspects is probably the most important thing. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that it stayed tight, which it has done. All right. Again, your exit strategy of getting your katana out is very important, but if you can't, you need to learn how to use the sheath as well, so it can block, it can strike, it can block and strike. So you have to understand how it works. So that's a block, that's a block, that's a strike, that's a strike. Now you don't want to let go of this part. What I just did was a big no-no. So if I strike here and the guy sidesteps, he just got my katana, which pretty much made me defenseless other than having this sheath to protect myself. Remember, there's a difference between movies and reality. In the movies, that would have been perfect. So I do this, guy steals my sword, then he kills me. I would have deserved that because I did something exceptionally stupid. If you're going to use your sheath and sword as a weapon, hold the butt of the sword and the sheath probably midway so that you'll have a little bit more room to use. Boom, boom, and then that. Because otherwise, they got you. They want you, they got you, they kill you. The end. Now again, you're not going to do this. Because there's a good chance that your sheath might fly the fuck off. And you're going to need that. Because this also operates as a shield for those who don't know. Boom! Stab! Boom! Boom! Stab again. You know, those are some things that are very important that you need to know in training with steel. The sheath is just as important as the sword itself. And you have to understand how that works. Because if you don't, you will understand how it works the hard way. And once that happens, you can hang it up. Because then you're done. If you survive that, you're done. We're going to work Mulan in a second. But my nose is running. As usual, I yield to the weather. I apologize. That is not a trumpet. That is my itty bitty tiny nose that makes all that noise. Alright, I neglected to put my gloves on. We will rectify that problem later when I put the steel weapons up. So this is basically a terracotta sword. For those who have Chinese history, I'm probably saying that wrong. And my bad. I call her Mulan. She has a little bit of rust on her. I do not know how to polish her, so if anybody has any ideas on how to polish her without me getting fucked up, that would be great. But anyway, same thing with the Japanese katana. Same thing with the Chinese sheath of Mulan here. So, block, strike, strike, but you don't want to strike that way. You see the katana came out. So, I mean, goddamn it. The broadsword came out. If I swung it hard enough, this would come out. My enemy would now have my sword, which means I have a date with Destiny. Destiny spelled D-E-A-T-H. Now, getting this out is a lot easier than getting out the katana. I don't have to oil this thing. It's just made to come like out instantly. So, this is also like a trick sword for like wushu. Don't do that. Never let your sword leave your hand. Period. Unless someone takes your hand with your sword. So when you're doing stuff like this, that right there is a no-no. If you're going to switch hands, you should probably not have this. But if you're going to switch hands, that's how you switch hands. Here. If you're going to do that, be careful, because it's not a no-no, but it is a no-no. You switch, grab the other end. Never handle the blade other than by the hilt. Now, back to this being your shield. Same thing you did with the katana, same thing you can do with the broadsword. So block, strike, strike, or strike, block, strike, strike. Don't do that. Lots of warriors in China did have these and use these as weapons as well as their sword. So block, strike, block there, strike, strike, strike. Do not do that. Especially if you just see how my hand grabbed that blade. But yeah, this is not sharp. But as I said before, it's a trick sword. See how flimsy it is? Okay, it's not made for cutting people. In ancient days, they were made for cutting people. They didn't really flex otherwhere than there. But some of these things flex down up there and shit. So don't do that. Respect your weapon, which is probably another thing I should have probably said at first. But when it comes with steel, understand you have yay so many movements to protect. Low, medium, high, high, medium, low, strike, 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 block, block, block. If you know anything about fencing, you're going to be able to do that a hell of a lot better than me. I'm not a swords person at all. Just because I have swords doesn't mean I'm the best with them. So I'm the best at giving you advice on what not to do with a sword. Alright? Some of my stuff isn't going to be 1,000% correct. There will be martial artists that come on this channel and chew my ass out. And that's fine, because everybody's taught differently. I honestly don't believe that you should ever bring a sword to a fight, because you don't know what that other person knows. You bring a sword to a fight against a grandmaster, grandmaster takes your sword and eviscerates you. That's your fault, because you brought this thing to a fight. Do not do that, unless you're doing it for a movie. You know, you're making a movie. See the distance between me and this sword versus just pulling it out. That doesn't seem as dramatic, but that's practical. That's dramatic. See how I caught that blade? That shit was going to the ground. Period. That's real life. I probably would have cut my hand. Now, see how I did that? That's dramatic. That's movie shit. You don't do that, because you're going to get hurt. You know, really, really bad. You're not funny. And meow to you too. But you know, again, this is, if you're practicing this at home, I can't really say anything to you. Okay? Doing this, that's fine. Doing this, as long as you're doing it at home. One of y'all trying to get your ass kicked. Anyway, I apologize for the interruption. If you're doing that at home, and you're not thinking for a New York minute that you're going to go into battle and do this, then I ain't got no dog in the fight. But if you're going to go into battle, this is how you pull your sword out. For real life. This is how you do the shit in movie life. Don't do that. You're gonna die. In real life, that will get you killed. So if you're going to a sword fight in real life, I can't even put this bitch back in. But if you're going to a sword in real life or a fight in real life, lots of people do that and keep this. Lots of people do that. Alright? Because they think that that's useless. This is not useless. It's heavily taped because it's cracked from training, but it's not useless. Boom, stab, boom. See how easy I almost got myself fucked up? Now you see why you don't do that. It's not on purpose. It's just for protection that you don't do that. If I teach you something and tell you not to do it, it is so that you don't get stupid and go, I know how to work a sword. Watch this shit. That person's not going to watch that shit. They're going to stab you while you're trying to block their shit. One mistake with this, if you time that, when y'all stop this video, go put a timer on it. I think it takes like maybe 5 milliseconds per strike like this. It's only going to take 1 second for someone to see that pattern. Shoot! Ha! Now I'm dead. Now, my stance wasn't even right. You know, I wasn't even a fencing stance. I was like this. So I'm standing like this. I step forward. That's reflex because I know what I'm about to do. But I still am dead doing this. Because this pattern, even if I pick up speed, picking up speed might even make it easier for them to stab me. There are do's and don'ts with steel weapons. I only have 3 sets of steel weapons because I'm not going to pull out my commas. Those would definitely cut me up because they're sharp. But understand that when you're messing with steel weapons, you are playing in a dangerous area. If you are training with steel weapons, your sensei needs to keep an eye on you so that you keep all your digits. Do not train with steel weapons without supervision. Preferably somebody who has some medical training, because you're probably going to fuck yourself up. especially if you're not left-handed. So now, I know, but didn't you just do that with this hand? When you go back and watch this, you get to pick which one's the more perfected win. I've been doing it long enough so that I'm fairly decent with both hands. That doesn't mean you're going to be fairly decent with both hands. Doesn't mean you're going to be decent at all. And Instagram just froze. But I'm not going to stop. And as you see, I went back to the side for a tiny reason. I want you to see how that looks inside. Welcome back, Instagram. So, you're trying to block a sword in there. It is possibly the worst idea you can possibly have. And there are going to be people who do decide that are better than me, and they're going to tell me I'm full of shit. Maybe. But I'll still have my fingers. Because I'm not going to try and fight somebody with a sword with these damn things. I know I am not Raphael. I also know that as dumb as you may think I am, I'm not stupid enough to go one-on-one with somebody with a sword, knowing that my hand-eye coordination ain't good enough to work these plus block a sword. I might get one of these blocks off. I might get a block here and a block there. But I'm going against somebody with a sword. And these are way too small. Way too small. I understand you need the right size weapon. So if you're going to buy weapons, especially for swords and size, you want your forearms measured. Because these have to go to the elbow, maybe even further. I'm a small guy. I got these when I was like 14. Like legally bought them from the Dragon Knife Company. God rest Garfield's soul. I don't know if Garfield's still alive, but Garfield was a bad motherfucker. So again, if you're going to fight with Sai, you know, they stay in your hands like this. Block, 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 block. If you have to switch hands, they still stay in your hands like this. Block, 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 block. Understand how these things work? So blocking high and medium, blocking low and high, low, low, in case you can't see, my hand's actually going down for those who can't see me. You know, so this guy's coming high, I'm a block, and I'm gonna go across here in case he has another weapon so that I can block. If he has a bow staff, I can block, you know. These do work very well for blocking, but you gotta take years of training with these damn things. Years that have passed me by. Years that I gave up on these bitches because all I ever wanted to do was work them like Raphael. No, do this shit. Then reality hit me. How would I use these in a fight against a katana if I can't put my hands in here without losing my fingers? I like my fingers. They are very important to me. I would like to keep them until I am buried and then cremated because I'm not getting buried, but you get the gist. You can hold them like this. Practice only. Practice only. You can do this. Practice only. When you go into combat, these bitches better be held right. You better keep your hands exactly where mine are so that y'all can see them. Your hands need to be under here. Because this, just because it's metal doesn't mean it's sword proof. Right sword's cutting right through that shit. So don't think that they're sword proof. But you know, in the heat of battle, you're not going to notice if it's gone until you fucking look at it. So, before worried about someone coming down, I mean, you can catch it. Like, if it's like blocking your eye, you might have a fighting chance. But it also depends on the person with working that sword. If you're going against a swords person, if you're going against an ace, with every sword that they touch, they make blood happen from their opponent. You got a problem with these. I don't give a damn how much I love the Sai. I am not going to lie to you and tell you that these are the most practical weapon against a sword that you can have. Hell no. In the right hands, maybe. In my hands, no. Because I am not a steel weapons person. I am not a perfectionist on the side. Like I said, I only learned how to work these things so I could do this and be Raphael. Other than that, fuck that shit. I'll take a sword because I have range. I'll take a bow staff because I have range. That being said, we're going to end this part of the video and then we're just going to go free out with weapons demonstration. So hopefully the live will continue while I lock these damn things up. And hopefully you guys have had somewhat of a fun video. Keep that with hopefully. Now, if I ever make another video, I will probably do one about convenient weapons and standard weapons. I just put all the standard shit up. Convenient weapons are a little bit more easier for y'all to find, like your jacket, like your t-shirt, like your keys. We can do a video about that. Y'all make sure you let me know if you want that done, but it will be a live that I choose to do it in. So now we're just gonna have some fun with my box of tools. We're probably going to do some bound fighting because I don't know what time it is and my Instagram isn't telling me what fucking time it is. Alright, so we're going to have a little fun with some of these instruments of destruction. It's my ropes. Chain. My runny nose and my gloves. Alright, so in old age, I am not as good as I used to be with double nunchucks. However, in real life, you're never going to need double nunchucks unless you're doing a competition. So I'm going to attempt to do these double nunchucks. Please don't attempt this shit unless you already know how to do double nunchucks. Because nunchucks can get you hurt. Rule number 1, don't do that. Especially if you're a dude, because you're going to pay for that shit. Rule number 2, that gets locked up. So if you're going to go low with one, switch out. Ooh, because that could happen. So first, before we start having fun, I'm going to teach you a couple of strikes, especially if you have double nunchucks. These strikes are doable, possibly effective, possibly not. So, with all due respect, if you do not know how to work the nunchucks, I recommend that you do not attempt this shit. So if a guy's on your right and your left and you have double nunchucks, then you're in good shape because you have double nunchucks. Boom! Now you see how how control I had that they're there? Hand placement also equals control. You will find the hand control that works best for you. Do not try to get me to do, let me get this one going first, and then this one. Okay, see that left one's going in a fucked up ass way because I'm trying to make it go the opposite. So you don't have to do that. You want them all going in the same direction. That way there's less focus. Boom! That's for the two guys there. I'm going to say this. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to respect it. You can do what you want with it. But I'm going to tell you right now, if I got double nunchucks, I'm probably not going to have to use my feet. Alright? But I'm also not going to be like in the movies where it's like, boom, boom, and then boom, boom. No. I'm going to swing at everything that moves. So, if that guy's over here, and this happens to be closer, boom, 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 boom. There's a reason why you don't need double nunchucks. Because that could happen. They didn't wrap up like I planned them to do. They're still not wrapping up like I planned them to do. But shit happens. You're going to do double nunchucks and you're going to just strike people without dangles. Then you're going to strike them like this. Let's keep the shit real. I got double nunchucks. You're too close for me to let it fling by itself. So, bip, I'm just going to strike you with both ends. Bam! Now, I've knocked you back, so now I can do this and keep you away. Boom! Understand? That's more realistic than me trying to... Now, granted, that builds up momentum, but you're not really going to need it. I mean, let's keep that shit real. Guy's coming at you. Bow! That's pretty much a done deal right there. You hit him right, he's not getting back up. You hit him wrong, he's getting up, but he's going to be a little bit pissed off, which means you get to hit him again. Boom, boom, boom. Every time he gets within striking distance, you control the distance by your hand placement. For those who cannot see, bottom, middle, top. Control, less control, less control. But less control, more striking distance. Boom. Middle, boom. Top, bam, bam. Top has the most control for me. Middle, not so bad. Gives me a little bit more distance. You know, but as far as like total control down here, not gonna happen. Look at my arms. Look at how they don't match up because there's a lot of focus going on here. Now I adjusted them under my arms so I could get back into where I have perfect control. But there's no such thing as perfect control when you're fucking with nunchucks and you have to fight someone. Also, I fucked up. I did not mention the blowback factor of when you hit something and they bounce back. If you hit something solid, like bow, and you're not following through. If you don't follow through, you hit something solid, you see how that almost hit me in the crotch? It's going to come back at you, which is why you need control. Out, boom. Now, you control the strikes. Let me drop these. Not because red's one of my favorite colors, but it's easier for me to show you with one. So you see how it's on the outside? Boom. Now, it's back on the outside. I'm on the inside. Boom. You need to know how you're going to receive that thing. Boom. Side. Boom. Make sure that you have follow through. You see my arm up to protect my face. So if it hits something and it comes back, I should be able to catch it. And then you get to do this shit. Again, if you notice that I haven't done anything exceptionally fancy, because you're not going to get the chance to do this when you're fighting somebody. If that person really wants to fight you, they're not going to sit there and wait for you to do this shit. Now, you can bring a strike from here. That's a strike. Same strike. So you can do that, you know. The only time you need to stop is when your opponent has stopped. You swing these son of bitches any which way you want, you know. That just builds momentum. It's not necessary in a fight. Because once you have these out, you're not going to need to do that. It's parked. They're coming. Bam! You see how it did that extra whirl? Watch again. Watch how it whirls past my leg. I need to be able to control that so it doesn't hit me in the leg. All right? Now you see where it went? From this side. Alright? Have to have control of that shit. Now that hit me in the back. Something you don't want to do. See? No control. Now control. Alright? Guy just passed me. Didn't hurt me. Didn't hit me. Where if I'm swinging this way, gotta have a follow through. See where it's over here? See where it's back here? You have to know how to work your weapon. You have to know how to stop your weapon. I tell you this all the time when I work that yellow chain, which I'm going to pick up right now. If you don't know how to work your weapon, if you don't know how to stop your weapon, you are going to be the victim of your weapon. So try to remember that. You control the weapon does not control you. Not like my sinuses that control me. Believe you me, my sinuses control me, and they control me well. As my nose is running. I'm trying to get this done as fast as I can because I'm working against weather and time. Here's something you don't do. Yeah, that wasn't planned. If it was planned, it would have looked cooler. But yeah, so again, like with your weapon, if you have this chain, it's more than likely, yes, it's plastic, yes, it can still hurt people. It's more than likely, you're not going to really use too much body. It's like if you have a meteor hammer or a dart. That was me losing control. That was me gaining control. Unless someone can get past all of this, then you probably won't be using much of your feet or your hands. Know how to stop your weapon. Try to take it on the fatty parts of your body. At the places where you can do damage, but also learn how, you see how I did that? Watch carefully. So push it off, switch hands, grab, and back. So if someone did get through all of your whipping, you can still short whip, long whip, short, because it's right there. See where I'm holding it? Boom. Long because I slide it back here. Super long, and that can go wrong. Now you see what I did. So my guard's up. Hold on. My guard's up. So here. Now I rolled with it to reduce that momentum strike. So it's coming around. My guard. Now I can grab it, or I can lock back around. That is control. You've already seen me lose control. But you gotta understand, the chain moves like water, so you need to move like water. See how I wrapped around my leg? This was to protect me from hitting myself in the testicles. That catch it on the back side of my arm, leg, arms, my shoulder blades. Now I will show it from this side now. Now there is a downside to that. You get tangled up in your shit. If you know crane, you can work the chain. You can stop and receive the chain with the crane. Adjust as you go. That was close, but good thing I dressed right instead of left. Like I said, if you have this chain, no one should be able to get through your defenses. But if they do, you know how to control it so that you'll be able to do what is necessary in the fight. Showballs. One more time, you're not going to do this. Ever. Other than training in your backyard, because no one's going to allow you to do this in practice. Now, I don't know how to do it in Kali, but in Kempo, no. You tap sticks and let's go. Clock, 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 clock. Block, 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 Back block. Just in case that third guy wants to play. But you will never do this. This is all you're going to do, is this. Boom, 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 boom. I know I need a new sound, but I don't have special effects. So I can't go. We don't need to do all that, but you get the gist. So they're coming. You've blocked it. Your other stick, you're swinging. Now they're on the other side and they're going to block it. So it would look like they struck and then you struck. So you're going to block down and you're going to catch them. You want to try to get either their tip or their middle. Now if you're fighting your enemy, you want to get their hand. You want to rock their fucking hands. Now I'm only going to say this once, so you better pay attention. When your hands get rocked, your hands can get broken. So you should probably wear thicker gloves than these. If your knuckles get blocked or rocked or racked, your knuckles can be broken. You have more hands in the, more hands. You have more bones in your hand than you have anywhere else other than your foot. Alright? Because your metacarpals are not just in your hands, they're in your feet. I am not a doctor, but I learned that in Taekwondo. Okay? That's a no-no. That's a quick recovery, but it's also a no-no. You can block like this and like this. For those who did take Kempo, you know the fucking drill. Boom, strike, boom, strike. You know, it's not practical, but it is doable. For those who took Kempo or Kempo. I was always told it was called Kempo, but it's Kempo and Kempo. They're the same fucking style. One is spelled with an M, one is spelled with an N. I took the one spelled with the M, Kempo. So, but it's the same goddamn thing, Okinawa Kempo. Okay, so block, strike, or block, strike, switch your hand, block, strike. Don't lock me out. Now I gotta put my weapons back. So, block, strike, block, strike. Also remember that side step is also a block, boom, and a strike. They're coming, side step, crack. And then you still got your other hand. So, side step, boom, boom. You know, that strike, they side step, so your first strike is here, your second strike is here. If you want to play devil's advocate and be favorites, your first strike is sternum, your next strike is neck. So it'll be side step, crack, boom, fight's over. Because you cracked their neck. And if you want to be an asshole, when you sidestep that first strike and go high, you hit them in the throat. They're not bending over. They're just going to, they're stuck there. So clack, crack, back of the neck. Now you crack both their necks, front and back. You probably just committed your first murder, so don't do that. But in the event that you are in a fight, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to remember that shit at the time that it's happening. Because momentum, adrenaline, anger, rage, all those things are going to be a factor, not your size. Do not lock me out. You're not going to do that. Again, if you're doing a movie, that looks cool because it's been done to death since 1977 when I was like 2. So, you know, block, strike, block, kick, boom, 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 not block, strike, block, kick, whirl the sticks. No, not going to do that second time. It's just going to be simple. Block, kick. That way you put some distance, and then you can step back so you can be ready. And when you step back and get ready, you're not going to do this. Because that's going to happen. Even with gloves on, as you saw, I just dropped my weapon. You're not going to do these. That's why. It's just not practical for you to just keep going into fights thinking that this is something. It's not a thing. If you do it because it's a habit, break the fucking habit. When I do it here, it's really habit. Because I believe that same movie bullshit that when you get into a fight with your chobos, you're going to do that. Hell no. If you get into a fight with somebody who really knows how to use these chobos, they know the golden rule. The golden rule is simple. This bitch does not do this. It does this. Alright? You whirling your chobos, that's going to happen. Damn near every time. Unless you got like some stickum or some rope around these bitches, You gotta have fast reflexes. See how many times I've lost this damn thing? Now I'm in perfect position, you know, but we gotta talk hand positions now. Then I'm gonna go to a different weapon. Okay. So mines are at the bottom for those up here and those down here. They're at the bottom because it's easier for me to have distance as a short person. Mine are aren't at the top now, but it's still the bottom because I just rolled the damn stick and slid down. They're at the top, but those are for like blocking, so I have distance. And Instagram just paused. So they're for blocking, you know, they're gonna protect me a little bit, but there's still a chance that when somebody comes down on your chobo, if they're strong enough with enough might, they're gonna break your fucking arm. So your best bet is to not really rely on this block, okay? This is not a tonfa, this is a chobo. A tonfa, you have a little bit more protection because it's thicker, it's solid, and it's slanted, and it's like square. Where this tonfa, this damn chobo, it's completely round. It's not gonna absorb the impact like a tonfa. So there's a good chance that you are going to get your fucking arm broke if someone's jumping and coming down. That hurt me just now. So understand, someone's coming like this, you want to block like this. You want the chobo to hit the chobo. You don't want to do that, and you don't want to block like this with a chobo. That shit's gonna hurt. It's very close to being able to break your own arm because you block some shit with this block. No, it's a block. It's not a practical block. It's not a useless block, because in like cases where they're swinging at your legs and you can go down here, or you can block this way, you know, it's not a completely useless block. It's just not practical. It's as practical as you doing this before a fight. It's not practical. It's not necessary. Don't do shit that's not necessary, because you will get hurt. Or you will get fucked up. These rings are not made out of metal. I need to find some metal rings for Wing Chun. But they are also very good if you do crane kung fu or any animal style, because you can incorporate them as part of the crane. For a standing crane on one leg, or a perching crane. Here, step, block, 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 strike, strike, block, strike. Now, you got to do some targeting striking with rings. All right? No one's going to agree with me, which is okay. I don't give a fuck if you don't agree. I just hope you learn. So if you're going to strike, you're going to hit here to bend them over, and you're going to wrap this ring around their neck and take control. If thou does not do that, then you need an extra plan. Strike, block, or strike, strike, because if you're doing Kempo, that's both. It's a strike and a strike. Strike, wrap, bring them to the knee. But if you're not able to do that because the fight's going to be going at an accelerated rate, nothing is going to move according to plan. Remember that shit. No matter what martial arts you know, nothing is ever going to go according to plan. The plan in your head versus the plan in somebody else's head while you two are fighting each other ain't the same plan. So you're going to need to know how to survive. Boom, 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 boom. Understand? That's going to be a lot easier than boom, wrap, and boom. So boom, 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 boom works better. I'm a dumbass, so my dumbass has the plan of hitting in the sternum, making them bend, boom, boom, I got their head in there, boom, pull to the immediate knee, which would be kung fu. Boom, boom, bam, that would be karate. You understand the difference? I added power instead of directness. So boom, 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 kung fu. Boom, 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 karate. Why? This knee was closer. That's direct power, but not enough power. So the power is going to come when I wrap this around their head and yoke them towards me. And then the directness is going to be that knee, which is going to whatever part of their body is on the side of this loop. Strike, bam, you know. Now, if I do karate, boom, lock it around their head, this leg's going to be the power. Bam. So I'm pulling them directly to the power leg. Why is there a difference? Because of how it's taught. All right? The thin line between Kung Fu and karate is very, very thin, but Kung Fu is more about directness, where karate is more about power. All right? Both of them have elements of speed, which also leads to power. Then we're going to do commas. Then we're going to do some bound training because I don't know how much battery power I have left. And like I said, I owe you guys. Oh God, I don't have a lot of battery power left. All right, so we're just going to do commas and tapas and end it. Well, we're going to end the YouTube, not the live. Answer yes, I'll count it, subscribe.
Hey, so a lot of you are asking what you can do besides spreading the video.
Hello, young lady. My first page. For everyone else watching,
and she didn't say anything.
she's a two-spirit person. That is a
Okay,
native
well,
term.
a little
Go
weird
Google
that
it
she had said that she
so
was
that
going to be
I
busy
don't
doing
fuck it
some
up
stuff.
trying to explain it to you. But I am going to say this to her tribal council. You know, there's enough problems for people like me trying to find our journey back to the tribe from which we came from. Yes, I come from the Ute tribe of Cherokee. Sometimes I'm ashamed to say it because everybody's Cherokee. Still trying to prove that, and I have BIA issues. There shall be no more native infighting. That's the first problem that we need to solve. The BIA really doesn't give it going into so much things about trying to find genealogy tests and shit. Irrelevant. What is relevant is that this young soul is hurting. And that only 4 people of her tribe came to.
The next day, she called her grandfather, Linda's dad, who had
Good afternoon, you guys, wherever you guys are at. I'm here over at the Union. Woo, with my sister up in here.
something peculiar. Linda's truck was unlocked.
That isn't mom.
That's not her.
Yeah, mom locks her vehicles obsessively.
Her grandpa went to the back door and gave it a shove. It was open. Tate could feel the panic rising as her grandfather began searching the house, which was under renovation.
He's, saying her name, Linda, and he's looking, and he says, I've checked.
What the fuck?
In the closet, I've checked in the tub, I've checked everywhere.
But then, in the kitchen,
He says there's something in the floor.
it was a
Wonder how long this thing been recording?
torch.
I can hear it in his voice that he knows that it's
Wow.
something.